For the past 5 to 6 years, I've been practicing intermittent fasting and OMAD, 1 meal a day, with mixed results. Initially, when I started intermittent fasting, it was during the COVID lockdown, and I lost a lot of weight. I was also very mindfully choosing what I eat and cleaned up my eating habits by not eating out every day because luckily the restaurants were all closed, and making it a point to buy fresh vegetables and fruit a little bit, um, to make sure that I was eating well. My gym had closed down, so I was also running, jogging 5 miles a day. And in a short period of time, I was down to 135 pounds. It was shocking. It was wonderful. And I thought, I'm never going to give up fasting. This is wonderful. And once you get into a fasting lifestyle, it's very doable and you get to love it. But going back to a hybrid work situation was doomsday for me. And once I was back in the office, my old habits started back in, and I was just munching and munching and munching. The days that I worked from home, I would continue with my intermittent fasting or OMAD, depending on the day. But that didn't really help because I would just overdo it so much once I got into the office. So, a couple of years of getting back into the same old ways, I decided to give this peptide business a look-see. Hi, I'm Chet, and I am documenting my Tirzepatide journey, keeping a video diary of my experiences. I didn't get to be overweight because of my stellar eating habits, and intermittent fasting really helped with the control of grazing throughout the day. And my actual meal itself would be thoughtful. Where I slip up is my in addition to. So I had a fantastic salad with chickpeas or hard boiled eggs, and I'll get super full. And then, in addition to that, I will now have a whole sleeve of Chips Ahoy chocolate chip cookies. It got to be that a sense of fullness triggered in me this Pavlovian response to eating cookies. And you can't just have one. I'm dunking in milk and I'm having five at a time. So why not just stop before you're full? Stop eating before you're full so you don't trigger the Pavlovian response. I was never really good at practicing that Japanese philosophy of eating till you're 80% full. If I had done that, I wouldn't really need anything, I would suppose. Anyway, I'm not somebody who takes medications willy-nilly. I will even push back on a doctor if they prescribe me something that I don't know or agree with, things like that. And I have to be damn near dead to take an aspirin. So injecting myself with a peptide wasn't even on the horizon. And I had a pretty bad opinion about people who were on it, maybe a little jealous also, but definitely a bad opinion. Oh, they're taking the easy way out. They're lazy. They don't exercise. And I'm somebody who has been gym compliant, exercise compliant for close to 30 years at this point, and a competitive athlete when I was a kid. So I didn't want to be one of those people that takes the easy way out. And I needed to lose 15 pounds, not 50, not 250. So come on, Chet, get it together. What's wrong with your discipline? Why can't you control yourself? Where's your self-control? Where's your free will not to eat? So there was a huge mental barrier there for me to try it. But I'm glad I did. I had never really heard of the term food noise before, but it's a real thing. And after my first priming dose, and something in my head just, it was blank. It was blank. It was not filled with, okay, I'm eating now. What am I going to eat later? It wasn't, oh, am I meeting so and so for lunch? Am I doing this? Where am I going with my parents to grab a bite to eat? Disappeared. So I'm a little bit of a convert at this point. And that sudden shift in what this medication can do for you triggered something in me to start taking better care of myself. I've always been a little bit of a skeptic when I read or when I hear the news, not read the news, but hear it about, it's all fear mongering type of thing. So I've always been a little skeptical. And as a dentist, I'm able to read scientific papers. And I've actually known about this mTOR pathway and protein, the need for protein. Um, Obviously, I knew you needed protein, but how much is needed? I thought that was a lot of, bunkum. I thought basically somebody's trying to sell you a chocolate protein bar. So being skeptical just suited me well. But seeing pictures of, those celebrities with the what they call Ozempic face, it's super chiseled, kind of worried me. That's not the look I'm going for. And maybe about time that I realized that, yeah, I know some things, but I don't know it all. And if there's some good information out there, take it and use it for yourself. So, yeah, perhaps listen to the advice of eat some protein and protect your muscles. We've probably all heard how to calculate your protein for your dietary take. 1 gram per kg ideal body weight, not the body weight you are now, but your ideal body weight. For me, that's 135 pounds, which is about 64 kgs, maybe a little bit more or a little bit less. So that's about 64 grams of protein that I would need on a daily basis. Now, there is some new studies that have come out about the mTOR pathway trigger. And it's not just simply having protein. Okay, suppose you're my weight and you're having 64 grams of protein a day. Let's round it up to 70. You can't just have 5 here, 10 here, 25 here, 2 there, and let it total up to 70 and call it a day. Timing really matters. So you need to have protein, 30 grams of protein at least, in your eating window. And your eating window is about up to an hour and a half, right? And by that I mean for the food to exit your stomach. So to reiterate, you need 30 grams of protein to even maintain your muscle. Forget synthesizing your muscle. Anything less than 30 grams, you can go into muscle deterioration. Not just the 30 grams of protein, but there's a specific protein, a specific amino acid called leucine, and you need at least 2.5 to 3 grams of it. More leucine is not going to benefit you in any way, but less leucine and your mTOR pathway switch won't even turn on. So that's something to be very mindful of. Okay, sold. I'm upping my protein game and let's do this. Sold. I'm upping my protein game and let's do this. But as a vegetarian, what do I eat for this much of protein? As a South Indian vegetarian, one of my staples is lentils. But do you know how many servings of lentils you need to have any significant amount of protein, like 30 grams? Too much. So and with lentils, you don't, once or twice you can have a bowl of dal, but most of the time you're going to eat it with rice or you're going to eat it with roti. And that just takes your caloric intake astronomical. So lentils are out as a viable source of proteins. Not that I can't have it regardless. Lucky for me, this vegetarian eats eggs and dairy. And armed with this new openness of listening to intelligent advice out there and an openness to try something a little different in this journey of trying different things, like taking an injection. There's something called, the brand is Isopure, but Isopure Whey Isolate, which is vegetarian. Obviously, I'm skeptical about a protein powder. If I'm skeptical about the amount of protein that you actually need, I'm skeptical about it coming in powder form. But I'm trying to keep an open mind here, and I'm trying to be really conscientious about my protein intake. And maybe it's useful. Maybe that protein powder actually does what it says it's going to do. And this particular brand is known for its bioavailability as well. So it's not just a waste. But I'm using it as a backup or in addition to, where I can't, it's flavorless to begin with, but there's just something about it that I know it's there. So I'm using it as a backup plan. I use whole foods first, and then if needed, I put this in. Or if I want a little extra, I'm putting in a teaspoon of this powder. Really important for me because I'm a grazer, and I don't graze salads. I graze cookies and cakes. I'm not a chips kind of girl, but I'll eat them if they're in front of me. I like my cookies and I like my cakes. So one of the rules I have to have for myself is no ready-made foods in my refrigerator, in my pantry, in my drawers, nowhere. No ready-made food. If I'm not cooking it, it's not getting eaten. I want to create as much friction between me and mindlessly eating. Now, I know Tirzepatide is going to do its business, and it's going to help a lot with that noise and the need to, the want to graze, but I'm trying to also work in good, healthy habits for after Tirzepatide. I made another video about this week's grocery list that I did. Very small, very minor, but very protein rich. In general, I'm buying Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, eggs. Of course, yogurt and cottage cheese I don't have to cook, and I can eat it just as is, and it's a healthy meal in of itself, healthy enough, especially if you use a little bit of the protein powder in it, which will have the leucine and things of that, all the amino acids. But eggs are my staple now, and lucky for me, I have not gotten sick of them yet, even though I'm eating just one dish that I'm making over and over and over again. Eggs obviously can be cooked in very many ways, but I'm sticking to my fried eggs right now. Yeah, all I bought was eggs, cheese, and yogurt. I'm keeping it boring. I'm kind of keeping it boring on purpose here. And I'm not much of a cook, so you have to deal the cards that were dealt to you. And keeping in mind, I don't like to grocery shop, I don't like to cook, and I don't like to clean the kitchen after myself. I'm keeping it very basic and very simple and repeatable. The easier, the better. I'm making my version of Turkish eggs, and anybody who has ever eaten Turkish eggs probably would not call mine Turkish eggs, but I do. I'm using about 2 scoops of yogurt or cottage cheese or a mixture of the two, and put some garlic powder in it, some salt to taste. Mix that up nicely. I'm almost at my, at least halfway to my protein with just that amount. 2 eggs, I fry them instead of poach them, and I fry them in about a tablespoon of coconut oil or olive oil. I prefer coconut oil, but when I'm visiting my parents, I make do with what's in their kitchen. Using my spices like cumin and paprika, some crushed red pepper as well. Serve that over the bed of yogurt. And depending if I've added a teaspoon or 2 of the Isopure Whey Isolate in my yogurt. This meal is about 32 to 38 grams of protein and 3 grams of leucine. It's pretty simple. It's pretty easy to do. 5 minutes flat, brunch is ready. 5 minutes after that, I'm full. And 5 minutes after that, the kitchen is clean. So this is my basic framework that I've been working with, excuse me, for about 5 weeks at this point. If I have to break it down to 3 takeaways today, it would be first, 30 grams of protein. It's a non-negotiable, and 3 grams of those need to be leucine. Second, keep it simple. If it's boring, it's okay. If you like it, if you enjoy it, and it's simple, keep doing it. Keep doing it until you don't want to do it anymore. And finally, most importantly, use Tirzepatide or whatever injection you're taking to make an intentional change towards good eating habits. That's really the most important, because one day you may not want to be on this anymore. So let's get to that point of starting healthy habits. It's about resetting the rules going forward.